Scott, you talked to one of the top climatologists, Jim Hansen. What does he say about energy production from coal and its impact on our environment?
Well, Jim Hansen is NASA's top climate scientist, and he's credited with some of the earliest and most accurate predictions on climate change. Hansen will tell you that coal is one of the biggest threats to the environment in terms of climate change because of all the CO2 that coal puts out. It's a irony of chemistry, if you will, that for every ton of coal that's burned in a power plant, 2 tons of CO2 are created. So in essence, Hansen says we have to stop building coal-fired power plants, and in just the next 20 years, we have to all but eliminate the CO2 coming from the hundreds of power plants that currently exist. Hansen believes that coal is a threat to the environment, and it has to be wrapped up in about 20 years.
You also talked to one of the major energy CEOs who operates coal-burning plants. What does he say about coal's future, and does he and Jim Hansen share any common ground on this issue?
Well, they share a lot of common ground with regard to the threat. Jim Rogers, who is the CEO of Duke Energy, the third largest energy company in the United States, has 20 coal-burning power plants. Rogers says he agrees with Hansen that CO2 is a threat to the environment, that climate change will be a big problem for our children and our grandchildren. But he also says that he has to be practical about what can be done. While Hansen says that the emissions from coal have to stop in 20 years, Rogers says that it can't be done before 50 years. Hansen says that's too late, but Rogers says there's just no way to keep the lights on in America and keep burning coal unless we have a 50-year timeline to take care of those emissions with new clean technologies.
How much is this clean coal technology going to cost? And, in these economic times, is it realistic?
Well, that's one of the most underreported issues in this entire conversation about what to do about coal. The leading technology, in fact, just about the only technology we know of that could make coal safe for the planet, is called carbon capture and sequestration. Now, what that means essentially is taking the CO2 out of the waste stream that's coming from the coal that's being burned in the power plant, compressing it into a liquid, and pumping it underground where presumably it would stay forever. Sounds like a pretty good idea. The problem is there are several hundred power plants just in the United States that burn coal, and hooking them all up with a carbon capture system would probably cost something on the order of $1 trillion or more. And given the state of the economy, it's hard to see where that much money is going to come from.